Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a Screenwriter's Rant on Moon Knight. Let's do this. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys at Amazon.com. Kindle Unlimited is free. Now, yeah, it's another superhero character. This time, you got Oscar Isaacs here, and he has a problem with sleepwalking or sleeping. So he chains himself up to the bed and he's trying to get a handle on his crazy life, but he can't seem to do it. And he somehow eventually, he works at a museum and somehow gets, he keeps seeing crazy mummies chasing him, but he somehow gets the power of Moon Knight. I forget how he gets the power. Or if he had it all along or whatever. I don't know. Ethan Hawke is in it. I'm not sure what his deal is. I think he's his trainer. Maybe he's the previous Moon Knight. But he keeps blasting to and from different lives. Doesn't remember anything. But when he summons the power of Moon Knight, he can beat up mummies and bad guys. So, you know, it's an original series starting on Disney Plus. Here it is. Is it going to be good? Yeah, it looks cool. You know, it looks cool. I was never a huge fan of the Moon Knight. Quite frankly, he was just kind of like a magical version of Batman in his own way. You know what I mean? You know, I get it. That's a broad statement, I get, but you know, Moon Knight it never was a hugely popular character until I forget what artist was on it. Back in the day, and this is the rumor, one of the artists on Moon Knight, Wizard Magazine, the guys at Wizard Magazine decided that they would see how quickly they could make an artist the hottest thing ever, and they chose the guy who was working on Moon Knight at the time. And they just hyped him up, and sales went through the roof, and everybody was talking about Moon Knight. I forget what the hell it was called. But that was the rumor. And suddenly everybody got into Moon Knight, but he definitely has a cool look. I mean, you can't ignore the look. And that whole thing, that transformation with the bandages, that's cool. I mean, it looks cool. Would I watch it? Well, I wouldn't buy Disney Plus to watch it, but I'd watch it if I had some access to it, but I wouldn't buy Disney Plus just to see it. I might rent it, I don't know, on another deal. I need to find out more about it. I'll wait for the evaluations of something like Moon Knight to see if it's woke, you know, insufferably. If it's insufferably woke, what would be the point, you know? A lot of stuff coming out of Disney has been woke of late. This is part of Phase 4. Maybe it's not woke. I don't know. It doesn't appear to be woke in the trailer here. Although Oscar Isaac is kind of a put upon protagonist, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing when you're put upon like that, and he's all messed up, and then he gains these superpowers, and it's like, I got to sort through my life and use these superpowers. What? But Ethan Hawke is always good. He's always good. He would be a cool mentor character, which I think that's what he is in this. So, yeah, this looks cool. I mean, you know, it looks cool. That's about all I can say about it. They're not really giving me too much of the story here. And I get it. It's an established character in the Marvel Universe, but, you know, that's the same problem with other trailers, I'll say, where they don't. You got to assume nobody knows who this character is, and he's pretty obscure when you talk about the Marvel Universe. Moon Knight is not exactly top of the charts, even now. Even now that it's fairly established, it was never super popular. It wasn't like they were selling, you know, Spider-Man levels of Moon Knight. So really, you know, in that respect, I think the trailer needs a little more. But it's Disney. They're promoting it to Disney Plus. They're just teasing people. They're assuming the fan base is there. That is always a bad assumption. even at this level. You know, with the other trailer I recently talked about, it's a huge mistake in my view. But for this, it's a big mistake. Not huge, but big. Because there are a lot of people that just aren't into comics. I mean, if you added up every comic book fan in the United States, you might get 1 million. If you counted the Marvel movie fans, you would get many more, but they're not comic book fans. Most of them don't read comics on even a semi-regular basis. They might have picked up a comic after watching a movie, but that classically that doesn't translate, because unlike, say, in Japan, where the comics and the anime and the movies often coincide and actually tie in the United States, they rarely do that, if at all. A couple of times they made attempts at doing it, and it would have been great, but it never quite hit. And what they need to do, if they wanted the comics and the movies to tie in, is you need to make first the movies, the comics, and the TV shows to all be consistent, right? You need them to all be consistent, and that's already a huge problem. A huge problem right there. Because the ladies of Marvel, in my view, aren't exactly doing their job. They abandoned continuity quite a while ago. TV and movie guys are forced to do a continuity. You have to do a continuity if you're doing a movie or a TV show, especially a TV show. There has to be a continuity here. They can't do episodes of a TV show that don't make any sense, don't connect one to the other. So it defeats the whole purpose of a TV show. So there has to be a continuity, and in the Marvel Universe, they have a continuity in the movies now. The comic books, kind of, sort of, not really. Same thing at the DCU. It's sort of there. It's not like it was, back in the 80s, they were still on it. Oh, continuity was a huge thing back in the 80s at comics. You could read a book, they would reference other books from that month and how it connected in. If Captain America went on a mission with the Avengers, and then you read his own comic that month, it would always start with him getting out of a Quinjet because he just came back, see Avengers, blah, 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 blah. And then it would start the Captain America story. And that was fun, part of the fun of comics. Now they basically all but abandoned that. So, will this be good? It should tie in with the other Marvel stuff. As long as they don't make it woke, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a solid vigilante type show for a while. He's got a good look. He's got cool powers. Beyond a couple of seasons, I don't know. I mean, Moon Knight doesn't exactly have a laundry list of rogues. In fact, I can't even think of one. I'm sure he has one or two at least, but the fun part about the Marvel Universe is when you would take a character like Moon Knight and put him up against a villain from another book, or one of his villains going up against somebody else in another book, or Spider-Man team up, or whatever. That could be really fun if the Marvel movies started doing that, and Disney Plus started doing that, And they kind of have done that, they did it in the Spider-Man movie, right? Not only did they have the Spider-Man, they had Matt Murdock, Daredevil, makes an appearance, a great appearance. So some of that would be great in this. Would be great. But, he has to establish his own role too, and that was always the problem in the comics too. You get about 3 issues in, and they'd be like, oh, time for a Spider-Man appearance. Let's boost those sales. Let's keep those sales up. Because they were afraid the comics weren't going to sell back then. Now they don't care, I don't think. From the way they act, they just push stuff out. But Moon Knight looks cool. He's like a mummy superhero. So check it out. I'm not sure when. Let's see. Was there a date on this? Coming to Disney Plus. Oh, March 30th. Yeah, March. So sometime in the spring. Yeah, it looks cool. Looks cool. I wouldn't buy Disney Plus for it, but I'd watch it if I got a hold of a few episodes. And that's it for me, Tony D, Little Joan. Check us out on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble for our more base takes, a news blast, and a Hollywoke hot take. We'll see you tomorrow.